This is Brad A. Milford with the Unlimited Business Wisdom Podcast, where leaders, seasoned entrepreneurs, and business owners share their wisdom. It's straight to the point to respect people's time, and because we know knowledge and wisdom turn to business possibility, and possibility mixed with support and action become reality. In this podcast, we discuss leadership, sales, marketing, operations, team development, quality, and finance to drive sustainable results and everlasting impact to make the world a better place. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Anthony, welcome to the Unlimited Business Wisdom Podcast. Glad to have you here.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. And so, direct from Montana, it's Anthony. Anthony, would you be willing to share with the people listening and watching a little bit about who you are and what you do?
So, as you said, my name is Anthony Butler, and I'm a marketing strategist. And I wrote a book, came out just a few months ago, called Primal Storytelling, Marketing for Humans. And I help companies determine their marketing strategy using primal storytelling as a backdrop strategy.
So I want to compliment you right off the bat. When I did a little bit of research on who you are, what you do, like you just shared, I got to say, I love the spin. So, there's a lot of marketers out there. There's a lot of people in the marketing space, right? I won't make any determination as to whether it's, oversaturated or not, but there's a lot to choose from as business owners. And so I love what you're doing there. And I want to compliment you on you. So you're marketing strategist, very clear, but it's the super niche, right? As I would call it, right, of storytelling, which is so powerful. So I love that. Would you like to speak into that a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, primal storytelling is kind of a labor of love. I've been running my own marketing company for 9 years. And, a couple of years in, I realized that not every client was getting, the same kind of results. And then we start digging into like what was really working and what wasn't. We realized was those companies that were being human, being authentic, telling stories about, why they started the business, where it was going, the kinds of things they're really trying to do. And they connected on a really human level. They just tended to do much better. So I attended this business conference down in San Diego, and on day 2, the speaker was up on stage and he was talking about, why do people buy things? And it's kind of a cliche is that, people buy emotionally and then they justify with logic. And as he's saying that, I was like, okay, I've heard that before, but like what emotions? What urges, like what is it that actually moves you to do something? And that led me to a discovery, this whole body of knowledge called evolutionary psychology. And evolutionary psychology combined with understanding human emotions and what we think of as primal urges. So humans don't really have instincts in the same way that animals do, genetically encoded behavior, where the geese fly south for the winter, they don't go east or west, or, go on vacation to Hawaii, they fly south. Whereas we still have the vestiges of instincts, especially as those instincts have to do with the people around us in our tribe, our families, our friends, our extended network. And that social standing is one of the most important things that drives behavior. Why do you buy the car that you buy? Why do you buy the house that you buy? All of your personal choices, a lot of them have a lot to do with social signaling. And with that understanding, it makes creating campaigns and creating marketing that people love much easier. Much easier.
So powerful. Vestiges of interests or
Instincts.
of instincts. That's a powerful short statement there. I love what you're tapping into here because we are motivated a lot of times unconsciously, right? And so when we bring it to the conscious, then we can begin to look into those and dive into those. But what you're talking about here are really powerful, moving topics, both in business and in life. So really powerful stuff. Anthony, thanks for sharing. It's exciting stuff. We're going to dive in here just a little bit more, so hang with us. Anthony, for you, with your vast of experience in business, what's the best thing about being in business for you?
About being in business?
Mm.
I think it's having full control over my schedule, who I work with, and the kinds of projects that I'm going to do. And I think that part has been very attractive to me. I was in the military for a really long time. And, when you're in the Army, they tell you where to go and what to do. And, there's you're kind of helpless with a lot of choices. And so when I got out, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. And just being able to really do those things that I want to do and pursue the things that I'm really interested in, that's been great. It feels really satisfied. So
Love that. I love that. And I love the military aspect. Thank you for your service, by the way. I'm a Navy guy, but I relate to what you're saying. So all that discipline and those things that they teach us, and it's good for a little while. And then for some of us, it gets a little old too. And we want something different. So we want to flip that script. So I love that. That resonates with me as well. Anthony, thank you. Thanks for all your service. We'll switch gears. We're going to get to the crux of this here in just a moment. This is one of my favorite questions. Anthony, who else successful like yourself with all the things you've done in business ought to be on the Unlimited Wisdom podcast?
Well, I would put forth 𝐷𝐷. He runs a beautiful software company. They've been in business for over a decade, doing really, really well. And he just has a soulful way of approaching leadership. I think he would be a good fit for you guys. And he's got a good message for other entrepreneurs that are trying to scale and get to the next level.
There's a concept, a soulful way of entrepreneurship. Can we get some more of that? That's well said.
Well, you know what? When he's a customer, and I would say a friend. What happens is you start to grow a business, and you learn to hire and you learn to fire, like two really important skills. And then you get to this next level where you deeply understand who's a good fit for the work and how to treat them, and like how to grow them into really productive and people who can contribute in a way that maybe they don't even know. And that's how you really can tell. And when you have a company that's got employees that have been there for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, like, that they're doing something right.
Love that. And you're tapping into an aspect of marketing that some people don't realize is a part of marketing, right? So when we start looking at the metrics and those kinds of things, I mean, that's the beauty in it. I see that you share this, right? And you probably tap into it at a deep level, is that all these numbers are great. But what's the reason? It's the human element, right? Which you tap into in your book. So I love that. Thanks for sharing. It's an aspect that I think the mainstream, even some newer entrepreneurs are unfamiliar with, that comes with marketing, right? It's the reason for all the metrics and the things that we do. So I love it. Would you anything additional to share there?
No, I think the one thing that every business can do is just think more about their clients than they do themselves. I do a lot of marketing audits and looking at campaigns that companies are doing and looking at their social media. And one of the things that just always jumps out at me is just how much they talk about themselves and how much they're focused on what they do and how focused on, me, when really the focus should be on the audience and like who your target market is and like, how can I help them in some way that's meaningful and helpful? And it's not always about money. It's not always about making a sale. Sales are important and we want money, but it's a much bigger thought than that. And we can get beyond just a transaction and build an audience with a connection that you're adding real value to. That's when things scale. That's when marketing gets really easy and fun, and you can do really good business like that.
Love that. We really are getting to the crux of this, the crux of everything, Anthony. So I love that. It's the human element. It is it's what it's all about, right? It's service. And you tap directly into that. So I love that. It's great stuff. I think you're right. We get tied into tactics and the audits and the execution and all these things. And sometimes, we lose the forest from the trees dilemma, right? That's a great
Right.
point. Yeah, thanks for bringing that to the surface. I appreciate you. The next question is fun. For me as an integrator, right? And I mentioned that to you before, like that's part of who I am, right? We hear sometimes, and I imagine you experience this too with your clients, so they're getting so much business, right? As a marketer, you know how to turn the faucet on, turn it off, and all those. I'm sure you have your own analogies, but we hear this, they're getting so much business sometimes that causes a little bit of chaos, maybe some overwhelm, some of this stressful feeling. Would you be willing to share your experience with that?
Well, overwhelm 90% of the time is poor systems. And it's a business that is not matured yet to really learn what it takes to scale a service, to scale a product that might have a service built into it. And I think, what are the things that you do when you start to get way more business than you can handle? Well, first you raise your prices. That's the first thing you do. And raising prices pushes a small segment of the market away, and it makes you able to service those clients that you work with at a higher level. Okay. So it's a win for everyone. They get more service and you're able to do more and they're happier, and so never think that the right answer to get market share, and you should just think first is we should lower our prices, or even worse, let's offer a discount. Let's just give it away. Let's raise our prices. Let's be the best value on the market, even though maybe we're most expensive, but let's be the best value. And that will avoid overwhelm. You'll work with bigger clients. You'll work with better clients that are more able and they want more from you. And by charging more, you can give more.
Love that. Quality over quantity, I heard in what you were saying, but what I also heard in what you're saying is, wow, that can bring some happiness, not only from you, like for the person eliminating the overwhelm and the chaos, but also for the clients, right? Again, we're tapping back right into the client again. So happiness for them too. So that's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Anthony. Let's get to the crux of this, right? So you have lots of knowledge. I'm sure you did tons of research for your book, and I really would like to tap into that, or really just turn the mic to you, Anthony. With your vast knowledge, what's a piece of experience that you would share with other entrepreneurs and business owners?
So I'm a content marketer, and I try to help companies create better content at scale. And one of the things that I've noticed the last few years is that the internet has just got more noisy. You go on Twitter, and how many brands are tweeting out quotes every day? Thousands of them. Every quote that's ever been said by anyone who is even remotely wise, they're being tweeted out. You go to every platform, and it's all Me Too content where everyone is copying what everyone else is doing. The problem with that is you're just delivering noise. No one is standing out. You're not delivering real value. It's just hard to cut through the noise when you're doing exactly what everyone else is doing. And so I would say think bigger about what you can do with content marketing. Stop thinking about just what you do, what value can have. Could you create a thought leadership program that has nothing to do with your business, that would be a service for your clients and your target market? And I help companies do that. And every time we roll out one of these programs, someone on the executive team invariably asks me, it's like, oh, well, what's the ROI going to be on this in, the next 60 days? And I'm like, zero. The ROI is going to be zero. Okay. No, we shouldn't do it. I was like, listen, we're playing the long game. We're trying to create a relationship and we're trying to grow an audience over a year, over 2 years, okay? If you try to do a program like that and you're thinking short and you need ROI in 30 days, then you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it. And it's, it seems so obvious from the outside looking in, but companies make the mistake over and over again. They spend it's just a wasteland of investment. How many companies do you know that have a marketing coordinator on staff and they're paying them $50,000-$60,000 a year, and they're there to create social media content and there's no strategy? Like, they're just tweeting to tweet, they're posting to post. Oh, this is a cool picture I found, like, okay, what is that? How is that going to move the needle? Why is that valuable? Like, why are you doing this? And then you pull up a cross section of their competitors. All the marketers know each other and they're sharing content. They're all just doing the same thing because they don't know what to do. It's just a mass problem that we have across companies. So what's my number one strategy is be a voice that's unique and create something different, create something that's valuable that no one else is doing. Like, that's going to move the needle.
That's powerful. You shared, there's a lot rolled into what you shared, and I want to unpack a little bit of that, because with anybody that's listening and watching has a little bit of marketing understanding or marketing experience, they might be able to unpack that a little bit easier. But for those people from mainstream that don't have direct experience with marketing, that might be a little bit difficult to unpack. But what I hear you tapping into is a great concept, right? There's a great philosophy and great concept, and there are lots of principle-based stuff that I hear you sharing in the way you're sharing it. And so different and unique, USP. I mean, for those who are real business, savvy, it's like, hey, you got to have a very clear USP, right? Unique service proposition in there. You got to have value. I heard the value, let's create value, do something different. So that's unique to you and create value. Are those two things correct so far?
Yep.
What else I hear you sharing is, and this was very crystal clear, and I love that you delivered it. So there's a lot of noise out there. So if you really want to cut through the noise in a way that you're sharing something that's unique to you and it has value to create a relationship. It's not like it was back in the 70s. I was in that market too. And I mean, it was like, numbers. It was all numbers, right? How many thousands of people can you get in touch with? And we measure. In today's market, it's all about relationship building, right? That's what I hear you saying. And so how do you build a relationship over the long haul?
Exactly.
One other thing I want to really point out and highlight something you say, because I think it's really important. I mean, everything you've shared so far is important, but this one really stood out to me, is that, and I've experienced it too, and I imagine you probably are speaking against this all the time in what you do, is that there's a notion in the market that social media is an instant return. So you spoke in the ROI within 60 days. I want to highlight that. Because if you're seeking out a marketer to drive conversions in 30 days or even in 60 days, as you highlighted, you're seeking the wrong thing. Is that the case? Is that true?
Well, when you're talking about social media, search engine optimization, those kinds of things, yes. Can you get an ROI on ads in 30 to 60 days? Yeah, of course you can. I can drive traffic today. I can get you some leads. But what I'm talking about is growing an audience and over the long haul, nurturing them. That just takes longer. That's all I'm saying.
I love that. What I've seen, and I imagine you have too, and I think this is important for the people listening and watching to understand. If you're looking for short term, it's not social media. That's the long game, right? SEO, as you said, SEO is long game. Ads, if you need short-term leads, then it's ads. And I think just having that heard on the podcast and explained could be helpful to some of the people listening and watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I love that. Anthony, I know that you have a lot of advice to share. Is there anything else from your vast experience you would just say, something that you just see over and over again with your clients, that you'd just love to put out there and share with business owners? Anything that stands out to you?
don't be afraid to write more emails.
Hmm.
I have so many clients and they're nervous about sending out too many emails. And so they're sending one a month or two a month. And I'm like, yeah, that's nowhere near saturation, especially if you have a list of people who want to hear from you and you're delivering value. You can email 2, 3, 5 times a week, as long as you're delivering something that they want to hear. Don't be afraid to increase your volume. Don't be afraid to go long form. So everyone's like, oh, well, no one will read a blog that's more than 300 words. Okay, well, that's not true. What the truth is no one will read your crappy blog that's only 300 words. People will read and absorb anything that's really meaningful and that they're interested in and that they feel like is valuable. There's some websites out there. I found this kid. He started a website. It's called Wait But Why. Single blog post on that website. Some of them are 30,000 words. It's like a small book. Okay, 20,000 words, millions and millions of views, like millions of comments, thousands of comments, people really, really following it. Why? Because it's really well done. It's entertaining. It's smart. It's on some really good subjects, things that people are interested in. And my only point is that the quality of the content will determine how long someone spends on the content, way more than how long the content actually is. So long form content outperforms short term content all the time. So it's just a myth in the industry that short is better. It's not true.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well said, well delivered, and very well illustrated. So the length is it's not about the length. It's about the quality. I love that. Anthony, thank you very much. We're going to shift gears in just a moment. I love asking a question about vacations. I ask every guest. It's just fascinating to hear all the answers. Before I do that, I'd love to know, will you share, just like unabashedly rave about yourself for a moment, and your firm and what you're doing and what kind of campaigns you're running for your clients and how you're serving them? Would you be willing to share?
Well, my most popular service is I have what's called the Primal Storytelling Foundation, where I just help companies put together 3 stories that they can tell right out of the box. So their origin story, and I have a whole formula and strategy for that. And then their vision story, like where the company is going, why they're doing what they're doing, kind of the testimonial case studies. I call those the transformation stories. And the last part of it is that what are those value stories you're going to tell over a long period of time, over a year or 2 years? And in the foundation, what I do is I help you set a marketing strategy that will help you grow an audience, get more leads, and grow your business. And it's very affordable. I do 2 or 3 of those a month when I can. So
I love that. Thank you. I really wanted to tap into the storytelling aspects and this specifics. I mean, we're going to encourage them to go to your website as well, where they can find more information. But the storytelling aspect, I want to pull some of that out from you, because that's deep, that runs deep, and that's what moves people. Back, we come full circle, right? The instincts, that's what moves people, and the emotion. So through that storytelling those services that you offer, any company can tap into to draw more leads through that. So thanks for sharing, Anthony. All right. I'm dying to know, in all that we do, we work to live, not live to work, right, Anthony? And so in the spirit of that, what's the most fun vacation you've ever had?
Well, it's kind of a cop out. I live where people vacation.
Nice.
So people come from all over the world to come to Montana and hang out. I live 2.5 hours from Yellowstone. I live 3 hours from Glacier. And in between those 2 parks is millions of acres of wilderness. So I have 2 sons, and we backpack and we hike and we fish and we go and do all kinds of stuff. So I'm doing something a couple times a month where, maybe I'll do a 3-day and then come back. Maybe we'll just run out. I live half an hour from the headwaters of the Missouri, some of the best fishing in the world. So I was out there this weekend. I enjoy my life. I'm on permanent vacation. Let's put it that way.
I love that answer. Nothing like loving what you do and loving where you do it in the environment in which you reside. Anthony, thank you. Again, I want to thank you for taking a chunk out of your day, literally, to be here, to serve, and to reach out to people. It's very meaningful to me, and it's very meaningful to the audience. So thank you very much for doing that. When somebody listens to this and watch it, and they're really interested in tapping into more and hearing more of, observing more of what you're into, and they want to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, you can get the book anywhere books are sold, or you can come to my website, primalstorytelling.com/podcast. And there's a free gift on there for everyone who's listening.
Love that. I want to encourage you, if you're listening, you're watching, you heard something that resonated with you, tap into the metrics, gain more leads. You're more interested in the storytelling or the human aspects of all of that, because that was a clear theme in what we spoke about, then reach out to Anthony. Get on the website. You'll see the links down below, and reach out and have a conversation. That would be something different. Anthony, thank you for your time today.
Hey, thank you.
This is Brad A. Milford with the Unlimited Business Wisdom Podcast, where leaders, seasoned entrepreneurs, and business owners share their wisdom. If you're looking for more on leadership, sales, marketing, or operations to drive team development, higher quality, and high-level sustainable profits, we encourage you to join the Built for Brilliance community on Facebook, or reach out to us about one of our mastermind groups, coaching or consulting, or even fractional COO services. You can reach us at buildbrilliance.net/contact. We thank you for listening, for sharing the show, and appreciate your rating and reviews, as this makes more shows possible. Thanks for joining us.